can use this toy box for earthquake stuff.
Credit cards and debit cards will not work if there's a power outage or the phone lines are down.
Nobody wants to see what we have gone. It's nice to be able to contribute into preserving what we have.
Welcome to the Sustainable Region. I'm Vanessa Timmer. Joining me is Rod Tillett. He's Metro Vancouver's Security and Emergency Coordinator. Thanks for joining us.
Anytime.
Great. And we're here at the Coquitlam Water Treatment Plant. In this episode, we're going to look at how Metro Vancouver protects its regional infrastructure from natural disasters. And we'll share some of the key ways that you can be personally prepared. Now, Rod, I understand you have some things you'd like to show us inside.
Yes, I do. Why don't we go in?
Great, let's have a look. So, Rod, what am I looking at here?
Well, this is basically a grab-and-go emergency kit.
Great, so it's a grab-and-go kit. So can you tell me a little bit about what's inside the kit?
So it's basically a mini emergency kit. So you'll have things like a towel, personal toiletries, toothpaste, a lighter, water for yourself, a selection of food for yourself. You don't need a full supply of food in your grab-and-go kit, just enough to last you for a couple of days. Also have a first aid kit, a radio, some gloves, some masks, because in an earthquake, you'll get a lot of dust in the air, and having a mask makes it much easier to breathe. I've included in this kit a flashlight with batteries and some chemical light sticks. Also included in here, there's a water bag that you can fill up in case you find some water that's available, and most importantly, copies of your important documents and some cash. Credit cards and debit cards will not work if there's a power outage or the phone lines are down.
I also see that you've got some hiking boots, some runners here. Why would you include those into the grab-and-go kit?
And if you're in an office environment, you generally have nicer shoes, nicer clothes that are not suitable for wear outside for long periods of time. So I've included some comfortable shoes and socks.
How is this different from a family emergency kit?
This is just a small version of a family emergency kit that's convenient to take with you if you have to leave your house for any reason. I've got a full emergency kit. Why don't we go have a look at it?
Great, let's do that. So Rod, what do we have here?
We have a home emergency kit.
So what's different about this kit?
This kit is actually pretty well the same as the kit we just looked at, with some additions. There's just more of it. More food, more water especially.
How long would people be able to live off of what I see here in the home emergency kit?
Well, this kit's designed for 3 days, which is what we recommend that people be prepared for at home.
Well, thanks, Rod. Now let's look at how a family is getting ready by preparing their own emergency kit.
है इन्नी ग्रोसरी ना ਆਪਾਂ ਕੱਲ ਤਾਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਏ ਹਾਂ ਅਸਾਲ ਪਾਣੀ ਦੀਆਂ ਬੋਤਲਾਂ ਕੀ ਕਰਨੀਆਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਟੁੱਟੀ 'ਚ ਪਾਣੀ ਥੋੜਾ
ਨਹੀਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਬਚਾਅ ਸਮੇਂ ਵਰਤਣ ਲਈ ਜਮ੍ਹਾਂ ਕੀਤੇ ਆ
ਪੁੱਛਾ
ਹਾਂ ਮਾਂ ਪੁਚਾਲ ਇੱਥੇ ਆ ਸਕਦਾ ਪਾਣੀ ਦੀਆਂ ਪਾਈਪਾਂ ਟੁੱਟ ਸਕਦੀਆਂ ਜਾਂ ਮਿਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਕਦੀਆਂ
ਨਹੀਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਹਰ ਇੱਕ ਨੂੰ 4-4 ਲੀਟਰ ਦੇ ਪਾਣੀ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਆ ਅਸੀਂ ਪਾਣੀ ਸਾਫ਼ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ ਗੋਲੀਆਂ ਵੀ ਲਿਆਂਦੇ
ਓ ਅੱਛਾ ਇੰਨਾ ਇੰਤਜ਼ਾਮ ਆਪਾਂ ਖਾਣੇ ਦੇ ਪੈਕੇਟ ਤੇ ਡੱਬੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਕੇ ਤਾਂ ਐਉਂ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਸਾਰੀ ਫੌਜ ਨੇ ਰੋਟੀ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੋਵੇ
ਇਹ ਤਾਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਲਈ 3 ਦਿਨ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਖਾਣਾ ਹੋਰ ਤਾਂ ਕਾਰਡ 'ਚ ਇਹ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਦੀ ਐਮਰਜੈਂਸੀ ਪ੍ਰੀਪੇਅਰਡਨੈਸ ਕਿਟ ਬਣਾ ਕੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਰੱਖ ਲੈਣੀਆਂ
ਆਪਣੀਆਂ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਅਲਮਾਰੀਆਂ ਭਰ ਜਾਣਗੀਆਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਸੇ ਹੋਰ ਥਾਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਰੱਖਣੀਆਂ ਪੈਣੀਆਂ ਇਹ
ਆ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ
Stock up on foods that don't require refrigeration, such as ready-to-eat pastas, rice, and stews, and dried and canned fruits and vegetables. Include a can opener, and don't forget food for your pet.
Here, we can use this toy box for earthquake stuff. Or maybe it could be for storing candies for me.
Well, maybe a few, and we'll get a bigger box. We have to fit quite a bit of food for the whole family in here. See, Sohail, we can put the food and water here in the garage with our camp stuff.
Oh, good idea, Mom.
Yeah, and if we have to take care of ourselves after an earthquake, it'll be a bit like camping, but at home. Okay, let's go.
Campers will already have many useful items such as a stove, tent, blankets, lantern, rope, and shovels. Be sure camp fuel is properly stored and keep the kit away from other chemicals. Make sure your kit has flashlights, radio, fresh batteries, and a first aid kit. Include items for seniors in your household and consult your doctor about storing medicines in the kit. Plan to review the items at least once a year. The more prepared you are, the better prepared you will be to assist others.
Batteries are amazing creations. And when you stop to think about it, we wouldn't get very far without them. Forget about driving or taking the bus to work tomorrow. No listening to your favorite podcast on your smartphone without them. But what do you do when they're all used up? Today it is easier than ever to recycle batteries. Just visit BC Recycles to learn battery tips and find out the nearest battery recycling location to you. So take charge. Recycle all your batteries and electronic devices.
Welcome back to the Sustainable Region. I'm Vanessa Timmer, and I'm here with Rod Tillett, who's Metro Vancouver's Security and Emergency Coordinator. And this show, we're talking about emergency preparedness in the region. So, Rod, can you tell me, how does Metro Vancouver stay prepared for emergencies like earthquakes or other natural disasters?
Well, we have a suite of emergency plans that take into account all hazards from earthquake to power failure, flooding, interface forest fires.
What's your team's involvement been with this facility here, the Coquitlam Water Treatment Plant?
My group was involved from the beginning. Before the first shovelful of soil was turned to build the plant, we were reviewing the plans and developing procedures so that this plant would continue to operate in an emergency.
Minimizing impacts to local infrastructure during the event of a major emergency is an important goal for Metro Vancouver. So earthquake protection is a constant and ongoing process for the region's water supply infrastructure, like the Coquitlam Water Treatment Plant. Older infrastructure, such as the Cleveland Dam on the Capilano River, the Seymour Falls Dam, and the Coquitlam Dam, were built before new rules for seismic standards were brought in by the provincial government in the 1980s. Since then, all three dams have been upgraded to improve their ability to withstand major earthquakes, protecting the reservoirs behind them and the communities below. The Cleveland Dam, built in the mid-1950s, received a $3 million seismic upgrade in 1992, with the goal of protecting the dam all the way up to a severe once-in-10,000 years earthquake. Also known as a maximum credible event, a powerful earthquake producing the strongest possible level of shaking at a particular location. The Seymour Dam underwent an extensive $44 million seismic upgrade between 2004 and 2007 to meet this standard. The Coquitlam Reservoir is contained by a dam owned by BC Hydro. The Coquitlam Dam underwent a $65 million rebuild and seismic upgrade in 2008. The Coquitlam Water Treatment Plant was designed based on the 2006 edition of the BC Building Code and also meets current criteria for post-disaster seismic protection. Metro Vancouver's new facilities are designed from the outset with these extreme events in mind. They're built to current standards using Metro Vancouver's seismic design criteria. The chief goals of these criteria are to ensure our water supply systems can survive a moderate earthquake with minimal disruptions and a severe one with manageable disruptions. As an example, the now completed Seymour Capilano filtration plant was designed and built so that in the event of a major earthquake, the facility can be repaired and fully operational within a couple of months. Currently under construction, the Port Mann Water Supply Tunnel also benefits from Metro Vancouver's seismic design criteria. It's built to withstand a 1-in-10,000-year event, with features like slippery low-friction polyethylene lining the walls of the 63-meter north axis shaft and providing earthquake protection.
UHMW, which is ultra-high molecular weight, essentially it's a plastic, and it provides a slippery separation layer between the slurry walls and the permanent lining. You do not want the slurry wall to grab on to the permanent lining because it increases the seismic loading on the permanent lining structure.
It's impossible to predict when a major earthquake might strike our region, but it's prudent to be ready. Metro Vancouver's water supply infrastructure is a concrete example of emergency preparedness.
I'm Vikram Vij. I'm the chef and the owner of My Shanti by Vikram Vij in South City. So it really bothers me when I see people just taking that little bit of grease and they just dump it down the drain, and it's like, why? If you need a great knife, if you need a great cutting board, you need that drain as well. Wipe down the grease a little bit. And then put it in the green bin.
Welcome back to the Sustainable Region. I'm Vanessa Timmer. In today's program, we're looking at emergency preparedness. And I'm here with Rod Tillett, who is Metro Vancouver's Security and Emergency Coordinator. Metro Vancouver regional parks and watersheds contain tens of thousands of hectares of green space, and much of it is close to urban and residential settings. That means that interface fires, where forest fires threaten developed areas, are another kind of local emergency where regional resources can be called into action. So Rod, can you give me a bit of background on how Metro Vancouver handles its firefighting responsibilities?
Well, Metro Vancouver has two firefighting responsibilities. Unknown to most people, we operate the Sasamat Volunteer Fire Department, which services the municipalities of Anmore and Belcarra. We also operate the Regional Wildland Fire Team that protects our watersheds, parks, and assists local fire departments whenever they have an interface fire.
Thanks, Rod. Let's see how Metro Vancouver trains its staff to handle firefighting in its regional parks and watersheds. From the air, the forests of our watersheds are a spectacular sight. But these impressive stands of trees also represent potential fuel for forest fires.
Large fire would travel through Capilano Park here. You wouldn't recognize it afterwards. When it's in extreme fire danger, the fire jumps up into the trees. And at that point, you can't actually contain a fire typically. It would just run up the valley here, and we would have an entirely new landscape, and it would be a tragedy, obviously. This is a gorgeous park, and we'd rather have it green.
Metro Vancouver's Watershed Management Division provides wildland forest protection in these areas. But it also works with the Parks Division to battle wildfires within the region's parkland.
If we're showing up, we're going to a heli attack fire, initial attack fire. This is going to be the equipment you're going to be arriving on scene with, as well as your personal packs and a fuel canister.
We take them and do some practical type stuff with our different pumps, talk about some safety components when we're out in a sort of a forest type setting, and really try and reiterate some of the key messaging, safety messaging and preparedness messaging. So if staff is asked to go to a fire and they've never been to a fire before, they at least would feel comfortable showing up and be prepared so we could deploy and use them on an incident.
Park staff receives training so they can respond to small fires in our regional parks. But in a large wildfire, they may be called upon to supplement Metro Vancouver's 3-person initial attack crew, because fast response is key to the overall strategy.
Fires are detected quite quickly here due to a lot of air traffic. There's a lot of heavy population base, so there's a lot of people who report fires.
Really, we depend on our public to report. There are eyes and ears out there. Our public are really helpful when it comes to any of these types of emergencies.
In the province, we run roughly about a 95% success rate at an initial attack. And that's really the goal, is to get in there quickly and suppress it before you get larger fires. It's safer for the firefighters, reduces costs, and is much more sustainable in the long term because you're not tying up a whole lot of resource and a whole lot of expense with heavy equipment and aircraft, burning significant amounts of fuel and things like that.
AS9 Coastal.
Watershed protection staff and Metro Vancouver's regional park staff also regularly liaise with local and provincial fire authorities.
We're working with the Provincial Wildfire Management Branch. All of the municipal fire departments are involved in our data collection and dissemination, and regional parks and the Metro Vancouver Watershed Group as well.
Metro Vancouver's regional parks are beautiful places where the public can connect with nature and reap the health benefits of being outdoors. But when conditions are unseasonably hot and dry, these important ecosystems and the public who use them must be protected.
Okay.
Initial attack crew members appreciate the worth of what they do, not just putting out fires, but helping to protect a very special place.
Anyone who spends a lot of time working the bush, even if they're a logger or wildfire fighter, you know, a biologist, anything, I think people all kind of gain that appreciation for the wilderness and the forest. Nobody wants to see what we have gone. So yeah, it's nice to be able to contribute in some way into preserving what we have.
The parks and all our different natural areas are very nice, and we want to preserve and protect them. And so we would hope that everybody visiting them that come to the parks and Lower Seymour are respectful and think about their actions when they're out there to help protect all our parks and natural areas.
Well, that's everything for today's program, and I'd like to thank Rod Tillett from Metro Vancouver's Emergency Management Team for being our guest, and also for sharing his advice and insights. Thank you.
Anytime.
And I hope we've encouraged all of you to take some time to make sure you're prepared for an emergency. On behalf of the entire team at the Sustainable Region, I'm Vanessa Timmer. Thanks for watching.